Hello viewers, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. It's Tuesday here in Australia. The weekend has come and gone. The Easter break has come and gone. It was terribly relaxing. I hope that it was relaxing for you. Of course, we had that bombshell end of the week last week with the Mueller report being handed down. Now, today I want to move to a different topic, although related in some way. I want to look at Donald Trump's health. I want to look particularly, and this is stemming from a viewer's request, whether or not Donald Trump has dementia or whether or not he's in the beginning stages of dementia. Now, we know that his father had Alzheimer's, but John Gartner, Professor of Psychiatry and formerly of the Department of Psychiatry at Johns Hopkins Medical Center, was interviewed on a radio program. It's available on YouTube and I'll put the link there. He is actually saying that he feels that Trump is in the beginning stages, and he points to the many examples that we've seen where Trump has been struggling to find the word for something, or he's confused a word, mispronounced it, the many mispronunciations. One which stands out in my mind, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, was the use of the word oranges for origins. And what was remarkably transparent about this example was that we actually saw Trump being aware that he had made a mistake, and he tried to correct himself. So he tried to explain what he meant by saying it's, the beginnings of something. And he went back again, and he still could not find the right word, and again repeated the word oranges. I think that's probably the most striking example. Now, we know also that the medical examinations that he's had in the past have been pretty much in line with most things that Trump does. We see that almost an attempt to cover up, and we don't get the full story, and then a little bit later it's some information is unearthed and we say, well, that was a sham. And that's a bit like his medical testing in the past. Now, Donald Trump's dementia can be quite worrying because he's the President of the United States. And dementia, we've also seen him wandering, what I would call wandering off. Now, my Nana suffered from dementia. And I've also done a little bit of research for something that I did a few years ago, something I wrote a few years ago. So I undertook that research with some passion because of what had occurred with my Nana. But getting back to Donald Trump, now we saw him get off the plane, struggled to find the limousine, which appeared to be right in front of him, although some distance away. Still in all, he was walking down the steps of that plane right into the path, or the line of sight was the limousine. Yet he still walked completely past it. We saw him on the world stage in Argentina, where he just walked completely across. Now, I guess there's another plausible explanation that the pressure of what he has created, and I'm not saying the pressure of what's unfolding for him. I'm saying the situation he has created for himself is pretty extreme, on top of everything else that he'd be facing. Now, we know that he has an unstable, I guess there's an instability there in around his narcissism on top of everything else. So when you put all of that together, it is no wonder that he's struggling. It appears to me that he's struggling. But the central question, has he dementia? Is he in the beginning throes of dementia? Will this contribute to his decision to standing down? Is he trying to hide this from people? Do people are they becoming aware that there's something indeed quite wrong with him? These are all questions we'll explore this morning. So let's just start straight up. We may as well get right down to it. Does Donald Trump have dementia? Let's see what the cards are going to bring forward. I'm using my Druidcraft Tarot deck. Quite beautiful, large cards, so that you should be able to see everything that's unfolding. So, does Donald Trump have dementia? Does Donald Trump have dementia? You know, I'm feeling that there is only so much someone of his age can actually hold, bear. Anyway, I feel that what we've seen in Donald Trump in previous months has been, really someone under tremendous pressure. His demeanour has changed since the midterm defeat. And yes, he would have taken that as a narcissist. He would have taken that very hard, and we saw that in his demeanour coming forward. But I think there was something else too. I think that he was quite fearful of what the Democrats could seek, and we know that they're seeking now his tax returns, which I feel he fears, almost or even more than the Mueller report. So. All of these things combined, if he was tending or in any danger of having dementia, would precipitate and accelerate those conditions. So confusion, dementia. Does Donald Trump have dementia? Does Donald Trump have dementia? Okay, let's have a look here. So we've got an offer here, the page of... the Knight of Cups coming forward. This comes forward a lot, almost as if he is thinking around or has received an offer, but it's early in the reading yet, so let's just continue and see what comes up. So we've got the Prince of Cups here, almost, this knight has the hand extended and is offering something, perhaps an escape. Now, the Nine of Pentacles, it's interesting because tarot will give you a complete picture. It can sometimes bring forward things that are connected to the central question, which we may not have considered at a superficial level. So it's challenged by the Nine of Pentacles. This is self-government and independence. Okay. The foundation of the reading is the King of Cups here. This is really somebody needing support coming forward. So we have an offer potentially being made. It's challenged by Trump wanting to keep his independence. And then we have the King of Cups coming forward as the foundation of the reading. This is also the benign parent, somebody that comes in, takes care of a situation. What is this alluding to? In the past, we have the Princess of Pentacles here. The Princess of Pentacles is contemplating news of some sort. This is generally in relation to money. It's also news that may be coming out. I feel that this is, some of the pressures that he has been under are being expressed in these cards. Now, the foundation of the reading is things are changing for Donald Trump. Things are changing. Now, we've talked about the central question, does he have dementia? Things are changing for him. Six of Wands is almost a victory card. It is a victory card, but it's also a yes card, and it's talking about things changing for him and a victory in the near future. Does he have dementia? The Lovers card here, relationships with other people. But when we drill down, I'm wondering if those around him aren't actually concerned about his health. And we have the Nine of Swords here in relation to the atmosphere around Donald Trump. So if we find that those around him may be worried about his health, it is actually causing those around him anxiety and worry. So we have a question mark over his, him wanting to retain his independence. We have essentially somebody stepping forward here, somebody supportive, somebody parent-like. We have things changing for Donald Trump here. It's almost like a karmic destiny is at play, which actually might take him out of the equation. Now, the hopes and fears here is the magician, what he might do. I think it's fair to say is a fear, a widespread fear, and we have him suffering some kind of loss here, loss that would cause him to step away, to walk away, to leave a position and leave what he was trying to accumulate, what he was trying to achieve behind. This is someone that turns their back and walks away. Now we have here again the disappointment, his disappointment, but also an offer here in the cup that's being extended, the hand that is being extended. This is twice an offer has come forward. And the Seven of Cups, this is bringing, I think, also his narcissistic personality. This is also bringing that into the frame. It's also around choices as well. Which choice will I make? It's almost as if the future, the present, the future, they're being obscured. So I feel that this is pointing to Trump's state of mind at the moment. So the relevant cards here for us, I do feel that there has been some kind of talk or offer around him being, perhaps potentially stepping down, and I'm not sure what that's relating to, whether that's relating to the Mueller report or whether people, certainly in this reading, people are worried about his health. There's also somebody coming forward who is almost like the parent here, who is supporting him. Is that his doctor? Because it's being challenged by his need for independence. I do feel that the news, particularly around his finances, is a worry for him. I do feel that also this is a karmic situation where we've got many things intersecting at the same time, both his legal and his possibly his health worries as well. I do feel that those around him are worried about his health. And I also feel that there has been a consideration here for Trump to walk away. Again, the disappointment of that, but also an offer there. If you can see that cup being placed in the tree, there is an offer there. And we have the Seven of Cups, which could indicate his confusion. This is somebody that can't make a choice, that's struggling to make a choice. And in this card, you'll see the cup is right next to this person, yet they're really have their focus on the cups in front of them and also their own reflection. So it's showing me almost that he can't see the woods for the trees. Now, I want to ask, is it getting worse, and will it contribute to his decision to walk away or step down? I feel, as I said, that we've got this intersection of things happening, and I feel that his health is a factor in this as well. We'll also ask if those around him have noticed this deterioration, because we, the viewers, the people that are looking on at these broadcasts, we are noticing this, and we're quite worried. So let's just give this deck a good shuffle. It's quite a large deck, so it's I wouldn't say it's easy to shuffle, but it's also the size of the cards are great for you to see. So is Trump's dementia getting worse, and will it contribute to his decision to step down? Is his dementia, if that's what he has, these are my impressions, although we have heard from medical experts, I'll leave that link underneath the video, their concerns. This isn't the first time the medical community have documented their concerns around Trump's health. Okay, so are his medical conditions getting worse, and will this lead to his decision to step down? I feel that his. So I'm just getting an image here. A couple of things. I feel that his thought power is under a great deal of pressure at the moment, and it's obscuring his awareness. So normally he'd be quite sharp and be able to almost use his third eye, his awareness, to judge situations. I feel that there is a blockage there. Now, whether that's because he's under great pressure or whether there is a deterioration, a mental deterioration, which these cards are seemingly to suggest, which other medical professionals are actually suggesting. I also feel that he might be being medicated as well, because I got that image that he was drinking, a potion. So I feel that could also be interfering with his mental faculties, whatever they're medicating him with. Okay, these are my impressions through tarot cards. I'd encourage you to use your own impressions as well and your own insights. Is his medical condition, is it deteriorating, getting worse? Will it influence his decision to step down? I'm just getting a strong yes on that. Okay, so again, I've shuffled that deck quite copiously. This is the Prince of Cups coming forward again, suggesting that he will be made an offer. And the King of Wands is talking about those that have authority around him. Who would have authority? That would be the Republican senators. They're challenged. He is challenged by not only, I guess, perhaps a Senate that may not stay loyal to him, but also the law. He's being challenged by the law. So I feel that we can't separate the two. I feel that there is an intersection of things that are going to be combining to influence his decision to leave. And I do feel that his health is one of them. Now, the Prince of Wands here, this is around inspired action, things happening quite quickly. It's also a messenger as well. These cards are bring forward news. And so it could be that there's going to be some kind of news around his health when he resigns. It could be that he may say that he's stepping down for health reasons. Something is occurring here. And we've got the Eight of Cups here in the past. I do, and I have had this feeling for quite some time that Donald Trump has considered resigning the presidency. I think, again, that will come out. And why? Because it is taking its toll on his health. He is worried, he is anxious, he is fearful. And the King of Pentacles in the near future, I also feel that he will go to preserve whatever is left of his business, his business status even. I feel he's extremely worried about his business. Okay, so, I would just say here that on the surface you have, the bluster, but what these cards are suggesting is someone who is actually quite fearful, quite anxious, quite worried, and also there's an element of confusion in that Seven of Cups that we pulled as an outcome card, not being able to see the woods for the trees. I do feel that there is going to be, if there hasn't been already, some sort of offer being made to him to move on is the Six of Swords here, him at the moment. I'm really feeling strongly that he would like to move on. And I think also in this card, we've got other people in the boat as well. And I do get a pull on Ivanka Trump and the worry for him around his children. The atmosphere around the Queen of Pentacles. I do feel that this is a prosecutor here, and I do feel it's digging up his tax returns. It's also those investigations in New York as well. I do feel that that is in the atmosphere around that will contribute to this question. All of these things are taking a toll on his health. And the Seven of Swords... in this particular deck, we've got someone who's extremely worried, and it's almost as if it can be the card of running away. So this is in the hopes and fears position. It's almost as if he's trying to work out how he's going to get out of this, and he perhaps... it's always working on that next plan, but the other element of this card is really severance. It can be divorce, but it can also be running away with something as well. And the final outcome card, this is the Harvest card. It's also suggesting too that that there's a need for evaluation right at this point in time. It's almost as if there's also a delayed success, a waiting for results around this. And as I said, a disappointment that you may not reach your goal, that the harvest may not come in. And so there's a need to reevaluate. I feel that that's where he is at this point in time. And I do feel that there are... those around him, and this will be my next question, that actually are worried, are actually considering this as well. And the Three of Pentacles, this is suggesting teamwork here and trying to fix something. So I do feel he is getting support from, at this point, well, he's getting support from his family. At this time, he's getting support from some Republicans, though you can't. This is a political environment, and that the Republicans will do whatever they need to do to win 2020. He's extremely worried about his business. I feel that if he does step down, there may be some reference to his health there in the communications that come out. But this is Trump at the moment, and don't be fooled by his bluster, by his tweeting. He's extremely worried. Okay, so, and indeed so are those around him. So let's have a look if, I'm not talking about his family now, but the Republicans surrounding him, whether they've noticed anything untoward around his health. Yeah, so I do believe that there may be some health concerns that are cited eventually when he does step down, or he's heading into some kind of health crisis that will influence his decision to step down, along with all of those legal implications. It's not going to, suffice to say, it's not going to end well here. It's too much. It's he's created a situation that's now out of control, that he can no longer handle. This was a game he thought he could play. He's never been in DC before. He's never had to face the political might of Democrats, Democratic voters, disenchanted independent voters, swinging voters, disenchanted Republican voters, the potential... I guess, he's always got his way in the past, but this is too big for him. So what are the GOP? What are the Republicans? Those around him in the White House. I've seen interviews of his deputy, is it his deputy press secretary, is it Hogan Gidley, looking quite like the deer in the headlights, when he's being put on the spot. We had Don McGann refusing to carry out his unlawful orders. And, people virtually just not, John Kelly not doing what he said or advising him that he couldn't do that because it would be breaking the law. What's Mick Mulvaney, his acting chief of staff, doing at the moment? What are some of his cabinet picks? They'd have to be starting to worry for themselves. Just the wheel of justice, albeit slow, is a turning. Okay, are they noticing, are they worried in any way, the Republicans worried in any way about Donald Trump's mental state, about potential deterioration of his mental state? Lindsey Graham has been quiet lately. Okay, the signifier card is endings, so that's telling me they're worried about endings, the ending of his presidency. And in this card, you can see the wind there going through the trees, almost like it's something that can't be held back. It has a life of its own. Now, I have to say that no one that I know of, certainly no reader that I watch or support, would wish harm on Donald Trump. But we also have to bear in mind that this is his business as well, that this is something that he's created for the lessons that he needs to learn, and in creating that for himself, we're also learning as well. So this card speaks to the endings. Now, what it's challenged by are the Queen of Swords, and this could be, really his base. Although he may want to step down, his base, the Republicans that do still support him, are actually, buoying him in some way. It's the last vestiges of support for him. But in another respect too, he's challenged by right thinking and also by the law. He's challenged by the law. So I do feel, and here we go again, the foundation of the reading is things are being obscured from him. And also, along with that, what is being obscured from him, the Republicans are at this point a bit like that as well. They can't make that wise choice, even though it's sitting in front of them. So that's where it's standing at the moment. They do see the ending. They do see that the ending is being contributed to by not just his legal problems, but also what I would call right thinking, healthy thinking people that are actually, it's almost like the elephant in the room. We can all see it. We all think about it, and yet still he's there. But it's showing that the Republicans really can't make that choice. Certainly in the past, they've talked about it. And indeed, you had Mitt Romney come out and I forget the words he used, but he condemned Trump and what was found in the Mueller report. And, of course, Trump took to him on Twitter, but I do feel that he came into politics. There is another contender as well, a governor. There are people within the crowd now starting to move, and the GOP, of course, would have thought about contingency plans here. That's what that card is showing. They are in a similar situation for all the bluster, for all the hype, for all the gaslighting. This is worry and anxiety. They know the ending of this presidency. They are worried about his mental health. But they are restricted. They are imprisoned at this point. Okay, the 8 of Swords. They are still caught within a prison of their own making. They are still under the thumb, if you like, of Trump, who is really, I feel, is deteriorating. Yet the GOP still can't make a choice. Susan Collins called the Mueller report unflattering for Donald Trump. They still cannot make that choice, though behind closed doors and between themselves they are looking at a new plan. Now, Trump is still independent. This card came up that despite his legal and his potentially medical problems, Trump is still independent and self-governing, and he is still the wealthy businessman that hijacked the Republican Party and held it to ransom. That is Trump at the moment. He hasn't slipped enough for the GOP to come round yet. However, the environment around is the Nine of Cups, and this is really a wish card, and I do feel that Trump still has that element of luck that we've always associated with him. But the fear of the GOP is the Tower card. It's ruin, it's chaos, and so really I would ask you to remember that when you hear this rhetoric and this gaslighting, it is not the actual situation. They fear the Tower moment. Now, the Princess of Wands here, this is suggesting some kind of inspired action here. This is suggesting some kind of plan, some kind of new project. And I do feel that it's around communication as well. And the Ten of Cups is around the, can sometimes be cover-ups as well. So they are still at this point potentially talking and covering up for him. But the other aspect of this card is they're worried about the Republican Party. And the Prince of Swords is suggesting that the truth will come out. So what's hidden from our view is balance. They feel that this situation... Are they worried about Donald Trump? They feel that there is an imbalance there, and there are currently going to be negotiations. There are negotiations. There will be negotiations because we can see that they've already been planning in the past to throw their relationship, their partnership, their collaboration, throw it behind someone else. So Trump at the moment, although... he is obviously, we're seeing a decline that's pretty obvious to the viewer who's watching on, to the observer. We have medical specialists actually very worried about him. These cards are suggesting a deterioration. The earlier readings are suggesting some kind of deterioration, whether that's dementia or otherwise. The pressure of what he's under is actually causing, in part, that deterioration. He's not sleeping. He's up at night. I feel that he can't think at times. He can't think straight, and I do feel that he's under medication. These are my impressions in these cards. However, having said all of that, what we know about Donald Trump is that at this point in time, he is still in a situation that will stave off his enemies. He's still relatively independent. He's still relatively lucky. He's still, despite everything, escaping the, going under the bar. He's literally William Barr. He's literally escaping from justice at this point in time. However, as I said, despite everything, what you see is a deterioration in Donald Trump's mental and cognitive capacity and behaviours. And the GOP are extremely worried that we'll have a Tower moment, that something will occur. They are on tenterhooks just like Donald Trump. They're not sleeping as well. So I would suggest, as I said, to look a bit further than the obvious rhetoric, because they are extremely worried. Now, those earlier readings suggested that Donald Trump would take an offer, and that his medical health would be a factor in that, and that possibly when he resigns, it could be that he's stepping down to focus on his business and focus on his health. It could be put like that. So I'm just going to finish with Will Donald Trump step down before 2020? Step down before 2020. Yes, no, 3 cards. Will Donald Trump step down before 2020? Yes, no, will he step down before 2020? Okay, the Magician. These are things that are unseen, but they're actually right at this time being actualized into reality. He will be restricted. This is the card of restriction. So in a way, the tables will be turned. And why? Because of the right thinking. This is the Queen of Swords, the right thinking average person that's reading what's going on and going, hey, this cannot be allowed to continue. This is also the law here as well. I do feel that the impeachment processes, I'll read on that later in the week, they will be started at some point. It's just a question of time. And it's at once we start to hear and see the testimonies, it will become quite obvious he has to step down. So that's my reading for today. I hope you enjoyed that, viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything that you do to keep this channel going. I do enjoy, I have a love, as you can see, of the tarot and divination, and I really do enjoy these sessions. Sometimes they're hard work. I won't beat around the bush, but mostly they're terribly rewarding. So thank you again.